Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
The role of anthropology in discourse analysis. Anthropology significantly contributes to discourse analysis by offering insights into how language and communication practices are embedded in and shaped by cultural and social contexts. Anthropological approaches emphasize the importance of understanding the cultural norms, values, and social structures that influence how discourse is produced and interpreted. By integrating anthropological perspectives, discourse analysts can gain a deeper understanding of the ways in which language functions within specific cultural settings and across different societies. 1. Key contributions of anthropology to discourse analysis. Cultural context. Anthropology focuses on understanding the cultural context in which discourse occurs. This involves examining cultural norms and values, how cultural beliefs and practices shape communication styles and language use. Cultural narratives. The stories and myths that are prevalent in a culture and how they influence discourse. Symbolic systems. The symbols and meanings that are significant within a culture and how they are communicated through language. Ethnographic methods. Ethnographic methods, a cornerstone of anthropology, are essential for in-depth discourse analysis. These methods include participant observation, immersing oneself in a community to observe and record language use in natural settings. Interviews and focus groups, conducting conversations with community members to understand their perspectives on language and communication. Field notes and diaries, keeping detailed records of interactions and reflections to capture the nuances of discourse within its cultural context. Social interaction and practices. Anthropology provides insights into the social interactions and practices that shape discourse. This involves studying rituals and ceremonies, how formalized events and practices use language to convey meaning and reinforce social bonds. Everyday communication. The routines and norms governing daily interactions, including greetings, farewells, and informal conversations. Power dynamics and hierarchies. How language reflects and reinforces social hierarchies and power relations within a community. Language and identity. Anthropologists explore how language constructs and expresses individual and group identities. This includes ethnolinguistic identity, how language signals membership in a particular ethnic or cultural group. Gender and language, how language reflects and constructs gender identities and roles within different cultures. Multilingualism and code switching, how individuals navigate multiple languages and dialects within their cultural and social contexts. 2. Methods integrating anthropology and discourse analysis. Ethnography of communication. Developed by Del Hymes, the ethnography of communication is an approach that combines linguistic and anthropological methods to study how language is used in different cultural settings. This involves communicative competence, understanding the knowledge and skills required to communicate effectively within a particular cultural context. Speech events and acts, analyzing specific instances of communication to understand their structure and function. Contextual factors, examining the social, cultural, and situational factors that influence language use. Sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistics, which overlaps with both anthropology and linguistics, studies how language varies and changes in social contexts. This includes language variation, how language use varies based on factors like region, social class, and ethnicity. Language change, how social factors drive changes in language over time. Language attitudes, how people perceive and evaluate different languages and dialects. Critical discourse analysis, CDA. CDA can incorporate anthropological insights to explore how discourse reflects and challenges cultural norms and power structures. This involves macro and micro analysis, combining detailed linguistic analysis with an understanding of broader cultural and social contexts. Intertextuality, analyzing how texts reference and relate to each other within a cultural framework. Social critique, uncovering the cultural and social implications of discourse practices. 3. Applications of anthropological insights in discourse analysis. Media and communication. Anthropological perspectives help analyze how media discourse reflects and influences cultural norms and values. This includes cultural representation, how different cultural groups are portrayed in the media. Globalization in media, how global media influences and is influenced by local cultural practices. Digital communication, how online interactions reflect and shape cultural identities and practices. Education. In educational settings, anthropology helps to understand how cultural factors influence teaching and learning processes. This involves classroom discourse, how cultural norms shape communication between teachers and students. Multicultural education, how language and discourse practices support or hinder multicultural education goals. Educational inequality, how language use in education reflects and perpetuates social inequalities. Health communication. Anthropology contributes to understanding how cultural beliefs and practices influence health communication. This includes doctor-patient interaction, how cultural differences affect communication in healthcare settings. Health campaigns, how health messages are framed and received in different cultural contexts. Community health practices, how local cultural practices and beliefs shape health behaviors and communication. Conclusion. Anthropology plays a crucial role in discourse analysis by providing insights into the cultural and social contexts that shape language use. By incorporating ethnographic methods and anthropological theories, discourse analysts can gain a deeper understanding of how discourse functions within specific cultural settings and across different societies. This interdisciplinary approach enriches the analysis of discourse, offering more comprehensive insights into the ways in which language reflects and constructs social realities. Frequently asked questions. How does anthropology contribute to discourse analysis? Anthropology contributes to discourse analysis by offering insights into how language and communication practices are embedded in and shaped by cultural and social contexts. Anthropological approaches emphasize the importance of understanding cultural norms, values, and social structures that influence discourse production and interpretation. This perspective allows for a deeper understanding of language use within specific cultural settings and across different societies. What is the importance of cultural context in discourse analysis? Cultural context is crucial in discourse analysis as it shapes how language is used and understood. Anthropology helps examine cultural norms and values, the beliefs and practices that influence communication styles and language use. Cultural narratives, the prevalent stories and myths in a culture that shape discourse. Symbolic systems, the symbols and meanings significant within a culture and their communication through language. How do ethnographic methods enhance discourse analysis? Ethnographic methods, fundamental to anthropology, provide in-depth insights into discourse by participant observation, immersing in a community to observe and record language use in natural settings. Interviews and focus groups, engaging with community members to understand their perspectives on language and communication. Field notes and diaries, keeping detailed records of interactions and reflections to capture discourse nuances within its cultural context. How does anthropology analyze social interaction and practices in discourse? Anthropology examines how social interactions and practices shape discourse by studying rituals and ceremonies, the use of language in formal events to convey meaning and reinforce social bonds. Everyday communication, norms governing daily interactions, such as greetings and informal conversations. Power dynamics and hierarchies, how language reflects and reinforces social hierarchies and power relations. What role does language play in constructing identities according to anthropology? Language is a crucial tool in constructing and expressing identities, as explored by anthropology. Ethnolinguistic identity, signaling membership in specific ethnic or cultural groups through language use. Gender and language, reflecting and constructing gender identities and roles within different cultures. Multilingualism and code switching, navigating multiple languages and dialects in cultural and social contexts to express identity. What is the ethnography of communication, and how does it integrate anthropology and discourse analysis? The ethnography of communication, developed by Del Hymes, combines linguistic and anthropological methods to study language use in cultural settings. It involves communicative competence, understanding the knowledge and skills required for effective communication in a specific cultural context. Speech events and acts, analyzing specific communication instances to understand their structure and function. Contextual factors, examining social, cultural, and situational factors influencing language use. How does sociolinguistics bridge anthropology and discourse analysis? Sociolinguistics, overlapping with anthropology and linguistics, studies language variation and change in social contexts, including language variation. How language use varies based on region, social class, and ethnicity. Language change. The social factors driving changes in language over time. Language attitudes. How people perceive and evaluate different languages and dialects. How does critical discourse analysis, CDA, benefit from anthropological insights? CDA benefits from anthropological insights by exploring how discourse reflects and challenges cultural norms and power structures. This includes macro and micro analysis, combining detailed linguistic analysis with broader cultural and social context understanding. Intertextuality, analyzing how texts reference and relate to each other within a cultural framework. Social critique, uncovering cultural and social implications of discourse practices. How are anthropological insights applied in media and communication discourse analysis? Anthropological perspectives help analyze how media discourse reflects and influences cultural norms and values by examining cultural representation, how different cultural groups are portrayed in media. Globalization in media, the influence of global media on local cultural practices and vice versa. Digital communication, how online interactions reflect and shape cultural identities and practices. How does anthropology enhance discourse analysis in educational settings? In educational settings, anthropology helps understand cultural factors influencing teaching and learning by studying classroom discourse, how cultural norms shape teacher-student communication. Multicultural education, how language practices support or hinder multicultural education goals. Educational inequality, how language use in education reflects and perpetuates social inequalities. What is the role of anthropology in health communication discourse analysis? Anthropology contributes to understanding how cultural beliefs and practices influence health communication by examining doctor-patient interaction, the impact of cultural differences on communication in healthcare settings. Health campaigns, how health messages are framed and received in different cultural contexts. Community health practices, how local cultural practices and beliefs shape health behaviors and communication. Why is anthropology essential in discourse analysis? Anthropology is essential in discourse analysis because it provides deep insights into the cultural and social contexts that shape language use. By incorporating ethnographic methods and anthropological theories, discourse analysts can better understand how discourse functions within specific cultural settings and across societies. This interdisciplinary approach enriches discourse analysis, offering comprehensive insights into how language reflects and constructs social realities.